All right.
So we should be live, even though it's like has a weird delay. Apologies for that.
Yes.
That's Facebook for ya. But hello, good afternoon, good morning, good night. How is everyone?
Yes.
Fantastic, I'm assuming. Let's pull up Facebook right here. We're going to pull up the thread and give you guys some, like a minute or two to chime in. And Nikki's going to share this post inside the group so you guys,
Can see it.
which is awesome. Let me make sure the sound is down. So let's just get the tech figured out, and we're going to get started here in like 2 minutes.
We're just nursing a baby.
No big deal. It's totes fine. Okay. So there we are. That's us. Volume is down. Okay.
Awesome.
So when you're here, I think there's a really weird delay. So sorry. But why don't you give us a hey that you can see and hear us before we get started. Hey. Awesome. Okay. Facebook, I don't care. Okay. Cool. So
Yes.
Let's hear a couple more people just say that y'all can see and hear us so we make sure that we don't need to change anything on our end, okay? Mm-hmm. So Haley's here, and we do have some other people here. We just want to make sure that we hear from you guys before we get the content started because we don't want you to miss it. Because we got some good stuff to cover today. Okay? Hope everybody's day one of the challenge is going fantastically.
Yes, Emily's been in the Facebook group answering questions all morning.
Can you put it up on your phone?
Yeah, and I've been in our email answering y'all's questions, and it's been a fun morning.
Yes.
I'm going to make sure we are in... Do you want me to make sure we're in the Facebook group?
Yeah, just check both places just to make sure, because I'm not sure if Nikki has shared it yet.
See us in the group yet.
No, it would be at the top. So we're just going to make sure we're all good to go before we get, because I think my phone is frozen over there and it's not actually accurate.
So how is your day going? Tell us what's up.
Okay, there we go.
Awesome.
Nikki shared it. Okay, sorry. There was a massive tech delay on our end. Apologize for that funky...
There's 21 comments. No,
hey,
we just
okay.
couldn't see any of
we
them.
just couldn't see anything. Awesome. So you can put your phone... Well, my phone's working now. My phone's been strange. Okay, doesn't matter. We're on day 1 of the launch challenge.
Perfect.
Holy moly. You guys are like insane in the best way with everything that you're sharing with us, the stuff that you want to launch, the products you want to create, the people you want to serve, the reasons why you want to do it all.
Mm-hmm. So many good things.
So many good things. So we're going to help you guys kind of craft that MVP a little bit more today.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But first, before we even get started on this, if you're brand new here, we're Abigail and Emily. That's Abigail.
Hi.
I'm Emily.
What's up?
This is Penelope, like the top of her head.
You can't see her very
There
well.
you go. There's her face. Well, this way. Hey! There we go. So we're the founders of Think Creative Collective. If you're brand new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you haven't signed up for the challenge yet, don't worry. We have a library of all of the videos, all of the content. It's going to house everything there so you can get caught up. And it's going to live in the library until like Monday or Tuesday of next week. So you have some days to go through it.
Yeah.
This is a 5-day challenge and it's totally free. You can sign up by heading to the link in the description of this video or just head to 5daystolaunchchallenge.com. That's the number 5. And you can enroll and you can figure out like what you've been missing. But today we're going to be live for about a half hour to help you guys craft your MVP, to understand who you're helping, to understand like what you can get out the door this week, because that's our main purpose. Is we're tired of you guys lollygagging, not just for your sake, but for everyone's sake, right? We know that you guys like have all of this energy and all of these ideas and all of these things that you want to make happen, and you just haven't gotten off the fence. And so if we can do anything in the next 5 days to help you do that, we're gonna do that, okay?
So the first thing I want you to do is really think about what is your MVP. And
I'm gonna be blue for a second, guys.
Yeah, no worries, whatever. So what is it that is your most viable product? So if you had a chance to review day one's email, we talked to you about exactly how to find that thing. It's the thing that people are constantly asking you about, the thing people are emailing you about, the thing your parents are like nagging you for because they know you're really good at it naturally. And how can you go about packaging that up and bringing it to market quickly? It's generally something you're already skilled in.
Yes.
It's not something you have to go manufacture or go find all these missing pieces. You already have this skill set right now to go make this a viable product.
Yes.
So I've been answering a lot of questions this morning about people who are like, excited about it, but they're a little bit they're either making it too big and they're not really sure how to narrow it down and make it something that's doable in the next 5 days, or they have the idea of the product but then they're confused on how to talk to their audience and really validate their idea.
Yeah, the stuff I've been seeing in the Facebook group today is everyone really not being clear about how to take what they're good at and the things that their friends come to them for and the things that are natural to them and the things that are fun and passion filled for them and turn that into a product. So like literally it's the idea of like, I can help people stay organized, or I can help people find their inner artist, or I can help people know how to eat healthy foods. Okay, that's awesome. That's great. What is the product that you can sell that's going to help?
I'll go over there.
That's going to help make that thing happen, right? So I want you to, yes, know what the things that people say. Oh my gosh, you're a great listener. Oh my gosh, your organizational skills are fantastic. Oh my gosh, whatever it is. But I want you to dig deeper. So those are the things that come natural to you and that other people are finding great about you. But how can you sell that? How can you market that? And I'm not saying like, okay, I'll post to Instagram and market it. I'm saying what is the product that comes from that skill that you can offer other people? And then the other piece that I see that's been a real struggle today is, okay, I want to help creative entrepreneurs or small business owners or moms. And I love that that's the surface. Like you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But I want you guys to dig even further. So instead of saying creative entrepreneurs who want to spend more time with their kids, what does that mean? Like, are they working, you know, do they have a full-time job and then their creative passion is their side hustle, so they like legit feel like there's no more hours in the day, so they need like automated systems in their business, or they need like a VA, or they need whatever, and they don't know the onboarding process. So like what piece of that can you step up and help? And that's your MVP. Does that make sense? I'm like half blue, half not blue.
Here, just come this way.
Here we go. Hi.
There you go.
So what do people say you're really good at? So today we brought this up, you know, in the workbook and in the email. But for some of you, this might be really hard. And I saw some comments that were like, my friends tell me I'm really good at like business identity development. Do they say that? Do they say, hey girl, you're my best friend, you're really good at business identity development?
I don't think that's what they say.
I don't think that's what they say. So the reason why I ask you, use their words. And the reason why we say that is because not only do you get to the purpose of what you do. Okay, so maybe you're helping people with business identity development, but do you help them see like, put their brand into descriptive words so they're able to write their copy? Do you help them visualize what their brand looks like in person? Like if it were an item or a feeling, here's what it looks like, so here's what to use in your marketing materials. Like, is that what you do? That sounds dreamy.
Yeah, what is the thing that, like, the actual words they use, what are the words they use to describe what you're good at? And I want you to actually talk about this in the comments.
Yes.
So in the comments right now, if you've already commented on day one, Penelope agrees. This is what you need to be doing.
Do it in the comments.
If you've already done this on day one, awesome, but let's do this again. Let's talk about it right now. What are people saying you're really good at in their words? Not yours, not your interpretation of their words, but in their words. Because, pro tip, you can then use those words and phrases in your marketing. So even if those people aren't your ideal clients, if they're describing what you do in the way that's impactful, that's truly like,
okay, those are the results I'm going to get from discovering my brand identity, just for example, then you can legit use those phrases to attract your dreamy people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay?
You are so creative.
Yes. You are so creative. People say I'm really good at crafts. I'm not sure of a better way to use that in marketing. Okay, so if they say stuff like you're really good at organizing or you're really good at crafts or you're really good at, explaining things simply. Think about, okay, if it's crafts, is it being able to put together items that might not make sense to create something beautiful? Is it being able to look at your limited resources and creating something like off of a small budget? Like, what is the thing in there that makes it unique? Is it all natural materials that you use your crafts with? Is it, or do you make something?
And you know that
You know
piece.
it. Right.
They don't necessarily know that piece. So they say the word crafts, and that might be the thing you use in your marketing materials, but you have to know how to make that unique and sellable.
Yes. Yes. So the reason why we want you to start with what the friends say is because sometimes it's really hard for us to describe what we do.
Yeah.
And for us to say what we're good at. And so we rely on the people who might see and look at us in a new way. So if you haven't done this yet, and if this was a struggle for you to come up with, okay, what do my friends and family come to me for? I want you to email some people today. Facebook message them, text them, Snapchat them, email them, call them, whatever their form of communication is. I want you to pick 3 to 5 people today. Do it by the end of today. And I want you to say everything you know about me, everything you've ever come to me for, everything you think about what I do in life and for you and how I support our friendship and just anything. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to even make sense. What are the qualities in me that you come to me for? Mm-hmm. Maybe it's good listening. Maybe it's understanding. Maybe it's simplicity in a difficult concept. Maybe it's finances, whatever. And so I want you to really, truly talk to some people today to try to get some words from them about what you're good at. And so even if they're saying stuff like, okay, you're really good at like making stuff simple, you're really good at crafts, and maybe that's not like your niche, and maybe that's not what you even want to be offering, that's okay. Because what this does is it starts to kind of uncover like how you're good at something and why you make that thing great and why or how you can offer it to other people like for sale.
And then the other piece of this puzzle I really want you to focus on is once you have an idea, we need to validate your ideas.
Yes.
We need to take that idea and we need to come up with a question, like the perfect question to ask to get to the point where you are able to say, you know what, this idea, I think this is going to work.
Yep.
And so in the email, we had a part of a question. What was the first part of the question? Do you remember the exact words?
For the answer this question in the book?
You're the most difficult. What was the exact phrase? You find it. I'll pull up the email.
Okay.
I'm just gonna pull up the email.
I've read so many things today. It's fine. So Barb's saying, people say I'm really good at caring about people. Yes. So listening to their needs, understanding what's going on in their life. How can that translate then into something that you can actually offer?
Okay, so what do you find most difficult when? Yes. And then you kind of fill in the blank. So the point is you have to find something to fill in the blank that's broad enough that you're not leading people to your answer to self-validate, but you're also being kind of broad enough that you are going to give them space so that if it's not exactly what you had in mind, but close, that you could potentially tweak your product idea a little bit.
Yes.
And like make it even better.
Yes.
So, what I want you to come up now and talk about what is the question you are thinking about asking and write that in the comments.
Yes, let us help you make sure it's not going to give you a biased response.
What do you find most difficult when blank?
I'm going to go ahead and take this off the screen
Sure.
so I can come back.
So, and then the homework I really want to give you for this is, so Emily talked about you're going to go ask a couple of friends and family to start like figuring out what you're really good at. But I want you to take that question and I want to figure out where is your ideal client already hanging out, and I want you to go ask that question in front of them.
Yep.
So if your ideal client is in a lot of Facebook groups, like I know a lot of you have mentioned targeting other moms, and so I know that can be super broad, but there's a lot of mom groups on Facebook, and so you might be able to go ask in those groups your question. I know someone had this really specific issue where they were dealing with autoimmune disorders, and they wanted to talk about flare-ups. And so I'm sure there are groups of people that are already naturally hanging out together where they have autoimmune disorders and they are dealing with this disease all of the time. And so they have questions and forums and stuff like that. And so how could you go into that group and just ask this question to start validating your idea? So
She's talkative today, guys.
yeah. So what are some other people saying?
Yeah, so people are saying, what do you find most difficult when you're feeling depressed? What do you find most difficult when you want a personalized gift for a friend? When you want to craft? When it comes to living a full and joyful life? Okay, so here's another thing I wanted to touch on is I want you to be careful, and we're pushing you through this step, and it's going to be the hardest. Crafting this initial piece to kind of get started is going to be the toughest, and so I feel you and I get it, and we've all been there. But I really want to encourage you to not fall back on the catchphrases that you hear a lot. So like living your most fulfilled life, busy moms who want to spend more time with their kids, people who want to be healthy. Like if you really think about it, every single person would say yes to wanting those things.
So you don't want to ask a question that's going to give a response with a yes or no answer.
Yes. And then I don't want you to also focus what you think you can create thinking that it's for everyone. Okay? Because there are a lot of people who, like, legit, when they were describing their MVP today, said, I want to help everyone XYZ. I want to help all creative business owners XYZ. No, you don't. Trust me, you don't. Like, we've all been there.
It's really hard.
It's really hard.
And so one of the things, one of the ladies that jumped in today, she's a virtual assistant, and she talked about wanting to help people like reach a new level of success. And I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
How can you package that up? How can you talk about a specific aspect? And how can you really hone in on a area that's super, super specific? So like, are you really good at setting up ConvertKit sequences or sales emails? Or are you really good at customer service? Or are you really good at, like being so specific? Because the more broad you are, the more people are confused and they don't necessarily know if their product is for you.
Yep. These are some great questions, guys. What do you find most difficult when deciding on designing your space? Awesome, because they might say budget. I don't know my style. I don't know like where to start, like paint color or furniture. That's a fantastic question. What do you find most difficult about organizing your business paperwork and procedures? Great question. What do you find most difficult when having people over for dinner? I love that. Like, what do I use? Like, literal, like, serveware and dishes and whatever and time. What's a creature that's considered ugly that you'd like to see me make cute? Veronica, you're so funny. Lauren, that's a great question. What do you find most difficult in the last month or two of wedding planning? That's fantastic. So I imagine then you come in as like maybe the last minute wedding planner to like tie in those pieces, or like here are the things that you're going to need 30 days or 60 days out from your wedding, and like you help with that piece of the puzzle instead of like longer term wedding planning.
Yeah, I love that that's like not it's not so specific, but it's really getting at your target audience and really honing in on what they need.
Okay, so Kathy, what do you find the most difficult about launching your business online? That's a little broad, so let's work on narrowing that a little bit. I would encourage you to, since you know your skill set, people come to you for maybe tech or writing or branding, I'm not sure, but kind of add in a little bit more specific area of business, because the answer to that would be everything.
Right.
So can you help with everything? Can you help with building a website and branding and writing a sales funnel and ordering products from China? So like what one of those avenues can you help with and kind of customize that question to direct people a little bit to that area?
Yeah. So use these questions and post them in other groups.
Yes.
And post them on your own social media. And use the hashtag 5 days to launch and tell people what you're doing, but don't tell them what you're looking for, please.
Right.
The whole point is you're trying to get responses that are going to help you build this product, but you don't want to go, I have this really amazing product idea,
right,
and here's my idea, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And will you please answer this question? Don't do that. That is not going to be helpful for you. You need to go at this with a, come at it from a place of, I need your help. Here is my question. Will you please take 2 minutes? But don't go overboard with this. Okay.
So, a great question. Thanks for calling that out, Nikki. How would you approach this if you're selling physical products and not a service?
So I think you still need to validate the same way. It's just your questions are going to be something, you're still going to potentially solve a problem. And you still have to validate if this is going to work or not the same exact way. So the process is the same. Now, if you're creating a product in the next 5 days, that's awesome. If you already have an existing product and you're essentially wanting to relaunch it in the next 5 days, we can totally do that too. So if you've already, say you have a mug that's just kind of you have too many of them, they're sitting on the shelf, and you want to you don't need to manufacture them because you already have them made, and you're just trying to work on getting them out there. Technically, validating it is, it's kind of it's going to help you because it may help you with your marketing language, but it's not going to change the fact that you already have the product created. So you've already done that work. So you just need to take that work and apply it in a different way than someone who hasn't started creating their product or service yet.
Well, and what you could do too is, since that, no one really needs to go out there and validate should I offer, or do people in the world want coffee mugs? Some people do, some people don't. The people who do will buy them, and that's great. But what I want to encourage you instead is figure out a way to validate if the current audience that you have is ready for something like that. So let me give you an example. Someone I know sells handmade jewelry. Beautiful, beautiful jewelry. Crystals and mind, body, soul aware, and healing jewelry. And so it's just great. It's a holistic health kind of jewelry line. Well, she's super creative, and just like a lot of you, a serial entrepreneur, and loves herself some coffee mugs, right? So she was gung-ho on creating this entire line of coffee mugs. But when you take a step back and you really get to know your audience, and she started asking just everyday questions about the things that her audience was thinking and going through, she realized that a lot of her people who were buying her products are actually going towards and shifting into the more minimalist lifestyle. So they're getting rid of a lot of clutter. They don't have a lot of stuff in their home. So the last thing she wanted to provide them was more clutter, right? And more stuff. And so she was literally just asking, why do you buy the things that I offer? What about my brand and your life match up together? What are you trying to achieve in your life with the things that you purchase? Why do you decide to buy the things that you buy? And so it's not directly related to a coffee mug, but she's realizing that the people she loves serving the most are actually looking to declutter and get rid of stuff. And so she didn't want to aid into that.
So
I had too many coffee mugs. Girl, me too, Kathy.
Steph Crowder just commented, and it reminded me
Yes.
that we have a podcast that I think is going to help you with this process if you feel stuck at all. So what number? Okay, number 63. So if you go listen to the Strategy Hour podcast, episode number 63, we had Steph Crowder on the podcast. And she talked all about essentially she's talking a lot about membership sites and all of that stuff with Fizzle, but we spent a chunk of the podcast talking about how to validate a product idea and specifically how to come up with this anchor question. Mm-hmm. So if you're struggling with how to come up with your question and you need like more walkthrough on this, seriously, go listen to the podcast because we could ramble on for another hour about it.
Yep.
But I'd rather you go listen to that.
Tracy, great question. What do you find most difficult about creating healthy meal plans? Love it. Katie, is it more specific to ask, what do you find difficult about creating an online presence for your business? Yes. Or more to say, what do you find most difficult about growing your coaching or counseling business? I think those are two great questions. I think the first one would work in most Facebook groups. So they're not going to be just filled with coaches. They're going to be filled with lots of people that could still give you really solid feedback. If you are in Facebook groups that are specific for coaches, try that second question and see the responses that you get. They're both fantastic questions.
Absolutely. So Nikki just posted up a link to that specific podcast if you want to check it out after the episode.
She's asleep.
So, Penelope is coming in and out of passed out with half a bottle drink. So this is interesting.
She's a goober. Cool. Tara's going to listen. Okay, so let's see other people who might have commented their questions.
So I do want to be mindful of your time. So really quickly, yes. I want to tell you about something we have coming up next week, and then I do think we'll stay a little bit longer and answer questions, but if you only were able to stay for 30 minutes,
that's fine.
Awesome. So next week, here we go. Next week we have a free masterclass that's going to be on June 20th at noon Central Standard Time. If you signed up for the challenge, we already saved your seat, so you're good to go. But if you haven't signed up yet, you can sign up specifically for the masterclass at bit.ly/perfectbizroadmap, and the different letters are capitalized. And we are going to be walking through not only every step of the challenge, but kind of like the whole workflow of like getting your business off the ground and dealing with the ebbs and flows of how to handle business that first year and what to tackle first and when.
So Katie has a great question. How can I apply this to launching a blog? I'm struggling with taking a more personal direction versus more business focused, i.e. up-leveling customer service. So Katie, that's a fantastic question. I feel like there was an episode where we chatted with someone about, it was Melissa from Best Friends for Frosting.
I'll find it.
She'll find it. So we talked to Melissa about the same thing. So she has a kind of lifestyle crafting DIY blog, has made a wonderful presence with, kind of just crafty tutorials, beautiful photography, bright, fun, and fresh. Well, she also has a family. She has 2 kids now and a husband. And so she started kind of writing a couple posts about her kids and her family and whatever in order to do the same connection that you're looking for, that more personalized brand experience. And at the end of the day, when she tried a couple, she realized, she didn't really like writing them. But she was after that personal connection so much that she kept doing something that she didn't really like doing. So she decided to ask her people. So she posted up a survey on her blog, and one of the questions included, do you like reading these blog posts about my family, XYZ, whatever? If so, like why? If no, why? Whatever. She actually, I think, has an exact link to the survey that she talked about in this blog post or in this podcast episode.
Yeah, so it's episode number 25.
Yes. So she realized that the type of people who were reading her blog didn't really care to read some of the more personal stuff. They felt more connected with her by following her on her Insta stories or on her Instagram and not her blog. So I'm not saying that's your audience because I don't know, but I would love for you to ask them. I would love for you to not necessarily pivot the entire communication until you're really sure that that's the people that you have right now, that that's what they actually want to hear and how they want that personal brand delivered. If they don't want, hey, here's what we did last weekend kind of post, that's okay. What we do is what we call a business lifestyle type of post. And so we will relate our life to our business and like how they help each other out and how they help each other grow and balance. So the reason why we've crafted a business like we do is to live our life a certain way. The reason why we're able to live these things is because of our business. And we tie those two together. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So you can still ask your people and validate that idea. It may just look a little bit differently for you, like a survey or a poll. Podcast 60. Yep. Okay.
So Veronica, being a seller of most decorative stuff, my products are not looking for me to solve a problem except in as much as find the right thing to express themselves. So I think the what do you find most difficult construction won't work for me. Which is why my approach is what's the weirdest creature you'd like to see in my style.
So I think your question is more like, okay, you think that you're targeting such a niche audience that either those people are too hard to find or like they're not speaking up about what they want, but you would honestly be surprised. I would love for you to connect with Jordan Dene. She's in the Facebook group. Tag her in a question if you have it. I would literally love for you to copy and paste that question and tag Jordan in it. You met her. She sells her Geek Chic apparel, right? So she is focused on just serving those people and realizing that like they're their own brand of weird, right? And I want to serve my people. So just because they're a different brand of weird or a different niche does not mean that you don't need to go through all of these same steps to figure out if what you want to offer is perfect for them, right? So you can say, what do you find most difficult in finding clothes, dinnerware, like whatever you're wanting to offer? Jordan's here. Hey, that fits your fantasy themed lifestyle or whatever it is. Like that actually serves like your own weird of purpose. So they might say that I feel like the things are too expensive or that they're too it's not prevalent in big box stores, so I have to dig around online to find them. So maybe that tells you, okay, let me like start creating some curated list of awesome like geek chic businesses to provide my audience that resource for them so they know who to buy from and where you start digging those people out of the internet, right? Mm-hmm. So Jordan's here. So she I'm sure goes through these same processes with her people, but your people are there. They're not hiding.
You just have to find the right place for them.
Yes.
So Nikki brought up a great point. How do you decide between 2 or more possible MVPs? How to tweak the product or rethink your target audience? So there's 2 separate questions, but we'll start with how to decide between 2 or more. So I think the big thing to think about is what can you get out there the quickest? So I think a lot of times when we have multiple, we have so many ideas, but we don't necessarily think of what is actually capable of being launched, in a timely manner. And so we start thinking of really complicated things. Mm-hmm. And so, they're awesome. Like, don't lose these ideas. Keep them in your back pocket, and they may be your second or third or fourth product. But for your first product, or this product that you're going to launch this week, I really urge you to think of something that is literally the easiest to get to market.
Yep.
And then if you're deciding between multiple, when the ideas are like crazy different, I really want you to think about, what are people talking to you more about? Like, if they come to you more for this thing than the other thing, then there's probably a bigger market already for you there. And then ultimately, to decide, you have to ask yourself, what are you going to enjoy the most?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're like, well, this is going to be awesome, but I hate it, like...
Right.
But I know some of you are doing that.
Yes.
I know some of you are going to say, well, this is the easiest thing for me to do,
but I don't want to do it.
Literally hate it.
Like, I don't want to make a course, or I don't want to record videos, or I don't want to do this. Ask yourself, are you just resisting it because, like, you're a little bit scared, but you can probably figure it out?
That's different.
That's different. Or do you, like, legit freaking hate it? So really gut check yourself on that one. But MJ has a great question. Just wondering, if we don't really have our own official audience, like an email list, will we still be able to launch? Yes. 100% yes. Okay? You do not have to have a certain amount of people on Instagram or your email list or liking your Facebook page or what the French toast ever for you to get a product out there. What that means is that you're going to need to be little like newsboys, right? Extra, extra, read all about it everywhere you can about your product, because maybe you don't have a defined list yet. But one does not need to come before the other. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. Mm-hmm. You do not have to have you don't have to have an email list. Like, you don't have to even be thinking about that right now. Do I want you to have one? Absolutely. Is it beneficial for your business? 100%. But it does not need to be the thing that's preventing you from making money. Period.
Because the reason we did this ultimately was because we saw too many of you stuck at square one, and we knew that if you could get to the end of this week and you could get your first product out the door
and sold
and actually make some money from it,
I'm sorry,
that you would be so excited and invigorated. It doesn't have to be a ton of money. I'm not expecting y'all to make $100,000 this week.
Right.
If you make $10,
I will pop some freaking champagne.
Seriously. Like, if you sell one.
Yes, literally. If you get one pre-sell, like, and we're going to talk about some of those tactics on, like, I think day 4. So don't worry about it. But we are getting an idea formed and established and, like, perfected, as in, like, 5 days perfected, and freaking sold. That's what we want to happen. We don't care about anything else. There are no qualifications to enter the challenge, so therefore, we don't give a if you have an email list or not. Okay? Because we want to just see you sell.
You have to start somewhere.
Yes.
Everyone starts.
Everyone
starts at 0, and this could be the thing that catapults you to relaunching it again and again and again and again. Our first course that we sold, we just made a few $100s from it, and then we made a few thousand, and then we made like 5 figures from it, and then we made 5 figures multiple times over, and like that stuff adds up.
Yep.
And so that first time we might have been like, but we kept relaunching it.
Yeah.
And so that's the whole point. Like,
and you'll learn some relaunching tactics on day 5. I don't want you guys getting ahead of the game.
Yeah, no.
I'm not
focused.
Jackie, I'm not even going to answer the question of what's the best way to start an email list, because that's not what I want you focused on right now. Until you can tell me what people come to you for and how that can turn into a product and who you want to offer it to, then I will answer your question. Because I want you focused on day 1. This is the reason why so many of you stall, is because you start to think of all the other shiny objects that you need, quote, need to have in business in order to launch, and I'm cutting them out. I don't even want you paying attention to them, okay?
Yeah. So, Jennifer, honestly, I'm still not sure what to launch. I'm assuming just now building my interior design business. I'm finishing up my website. I have a list of services: commercial, residential, staging, and e-design. I just felt like an e-design made the most sense to focus on launching. So, what's your question? You just answered your own question. You said, I don't know what to launch. This seems like it makes the most sense. Well, it does. To me, as an outsider, like reading one paragraph of text, I agree. I think that makes the most sense.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to answer one more question and then hop off. What do you find most difficult with creating a product like a notepad and convince everyone to buy it, even those who'd say they never use it? So that's one of the questions they want to ask. What do you find most difficult? So that's way too specific. that people are going to be like, convince everyone to buy it, and even those who say they never use it.
I think.
So is it about marketing or is it about creating the notepad?
I think you need to really generalize it back. Because what you're trying, the question you have now is so specific that you're trying to validate something you already have.
Yes.
And I think you need to reel it back and focus on what is it that you're trying to accomplish, and focus there, and then put it out there with your ideal client in mind, and then see what they say back to you.
Yep. Awesome. Melinda says, yep, I'm so idea happy and think of a million things to add to the to-do list before step 1. Girl, we're just on day 1. We're just getting started. That's why I want you, we're keeping it simple, we're keeping in the focus, and we're going to push you. I'm super excited that all of you guys are here. Do not forget that we are having a free masterclass on the 20th. You all are going to get an invitation, but I want you to save your seat in your, or mark your calendars so you get reminded. And then if you just like want to be extra sure that you get all the reminders, go to bit.ly/perfectbizroadmap, and it is case sensitive. So go there, share this with your friends, invite your people to join us in this challenge. They can get caught up. We're going to have the library loaded up. You're going to get a link to that in day 2. So tomorrow's lesson, you're going to get access to the library if you're already enrolled. If you're new to the challenge, you'll get access to the library today because this video will be in there. But if you're in our group, that's where the conversation is happening. So make sure to go over to thinkcreativecollective.com/community to make sure you join our private group where we're answering like all the questions about MVPs today and throughout the challenge.
And we will be live in about an hour again.
Yes.
For a little surprise party.
Yes.
With our entire team, or at least the majority of them.
Yes.
So if you can come back at least for a little bit and say hello, we'd love to have you. And we are wishing you luck.
Yep.
And if you have any questions, let us know.
We're celebrating a pretty big milestone. So come and celebrate with us because it's because of you that we reached it. We love you. Have a great